Today is February 15th, 2014. This is LaVora Perry, and along with my son, Jarod Perry-Richardson, we'll be interviewing Tiffany Fisher.
My name is Jarod Perry-Richardson. I'm the cameraman, and this interview is for the Social Justice Institute Voicing in Action project.
Mm-hmm. So Tiffany, tell us about yourself and the history of your family.
Okay. Right now, I am currently a newly elected East Cleveland City School Board board member. I'm very happy about that. I have 6 children. 2 have graduated from Shaw High School already, and I have 4 more coming through the East Cleveland school system. I've lived here. I'm born and raised in East Cleveland, Ohio. My address on my birth certificate acknowledges that. I always bring that up. I'm sorry. Pretty much, I love where I'm from, and it makes up a lot of who I am. And pretty much that's about it for right now.
What was it like you growing up? What's your earliest memory of being in East Cleveland?
Of being in East Cleveland was pretty much home has always been on Alder Avenue, which was my grandparents' home at first, my grandmother and my grandfather. And majority of the time when I was a youth, we used to come and go all the time. My mother was married to my father, who was in the armed services, so we've traveled abroad and throughout the United States. But we always came back home on Alder Avenue, and that was so much fun. Back then, coming home to see friends, because like when you're in the Army, you're bouncing around all the time. You don't get to keep those same friends. Where here at home, you were so excited to come home and see them. So
how long would you be gone before you returned?
Maybe 2 years or so. It all varied. It varied on where they went off to. My longest term, I think, was probably either Texas, and that had to be like kindergarten. I still remember some of that time. We were there a long time, and then when we went over to Italy, I was there a couple years because I remember doing 2 grade levels there.
Do you remember anything about Italy, what that was like?
Well, I remember being in school. I'm going to tell you a funny story real quick. I remember being in a Christmas play. And right now, the way I think about it, I could really chew that teacher out because we had to get picked on what we were going to play in the play. And so somehow I ended up being Santa Claus. And so I think about it now, and I'm like, wait a minute. When I look at the pictures my mom and them have from it. But other than that, it was terrific living on the Army base. I remember from now when I look back, I noticed the cultural differences and the makeup of their neighborhoods and how they have a lot of clay-looking made homes and stuff, and their festivals and stuff were so colorful and real festive. I remember those kind of things. So
it was warm there.
Yeah, I don't remember snowy days. Now I think about it. I remember being there during trick-or-treating. We didn't have coats on and stuff.
So when did your father get out the military?
Probably when I was just leaving elementary school.
Okay.
Yeah, some things going on around that, but I remember. But my mom and father had divorced before I left elementary school, and my mom remarried someone else that was in the Army. So I was able to go on then.
Oh, so you went back to traveling again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was in Italy, that was my stepfather.
Okay.
But I don't believe in, my mom doesn't raise me on steps, so it was another father of mine. And when I was in Germany, I was with my dad.
Okay.
So.
Are both of your stepfather and your biological dad, they're both still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you continued to travel. When did that stop and you had a sustained time here in East Cleveland?
Around we came and gone. Okay, 5th grade. I want to say around 5th grade. Because I remember East Cleveland, I was at Chambers. My 5th grade teacher was Mr. Stevens. My principal was Mr. Whalen. And, boy, it was a good time.
What made it good?
Because they really, really, I still remember I still remember that principal. I don't remember the principals before that. I barely remember the principals after that. But something happened there at that school, what made me pay a little bit. I had a little bit more focus. Maybe it could have been home life because I'm home with my grandmother. I love my grandma. I look just like her, everything. And but I don't know what it was. I had some educational problems, but I figured them out in that grade level and stuff. So something was going right here. And I remember and I still treasure that. And I went on to 6th grade. I was in Miss Willis' class. I still remember her. And I remember graduating, and we used to have clap outs at in the back of Chambers going through the parking lot. And everybody would come out there and you get clapped out. We used to take our class picture in the stadium, Shaw Stadium and everything. Lots of memories, good memories.
So describe a clap out. What's that?
Well, the students would just come. It was almost like everyone in the school that was not graduating was lined up where we can walk through the middle, and everybody just be clapping you out and wishing you well, and that was just awesome. Now, at that time also, I should have probably mentioned, we also became nationally recognized school at Chambers, where the president, with Reagan at the time, I believe it was planning to come there. But I think something happened, and we ended up getting his wife, Nancy, and she came in. It was something about a reading program we had going on, and she came with that. It was a lot going on then.
And what year was that?
In the 87, something like that. Something like that. I don't exactly remember right now.
And so you were at Chambers at that time, graduating from 6th grade?
Yes.
And was the community at that time predominantly African American?
It was still a little mixture going on. There was a mixture. I think it was a lot of black people, more blacks, but we still had white people there still. The city was, as I remember, it was much more beautiful then. I don't remember a lot of dark areas in the city, but it was beautiful.
Beautiful in what way?
Yeah, beautiful as far as there were lots of businesses. I can tell you some of the walks home from school, we used to stop on Hayden at the penny candy store, right there on Hayden and Shaw, and there was different places you can go to. You weren't scared to go anywhere, but you knew you had to go straight home from school, because the neighbors were watching back then. I just don't remember much. If there was any negativity when I was in elementary school, it was hidden from me. I don't know, from the upbringing and everything. I don't know what else to say about it.
So what are some of the, is there anything else you'd like to say about the history of your family?
My family? Well, my grandmother, I have to talk about her all the time. I mean, she's like another mother to me. And she worked in the high school, Shaw High School, cafeteria, the tech at the time, because we used to have 2 cafeterias. One was the tech and one was the vocational. And I used to also enjoy riding with either my mom to pick her up, because my grandmother didn't drive. She was one of them old-fashioned people where the man does certain things, the woman does certain things. The man, her husband comes and picks her up. If he couldn't do it because he was at work, one of the kids came and picked her up. So anyway, when I used to go and she probably get me right now. She has passed away a few years back, but when I used to go to pick her up with my mom or my grandfather, she used to have us like these little milkshakes, because Shaw used to give milkshakes to kids. She used to bring the extra little goodies out to school. And I know you're not supposed to do that being a play, but I love those things. Anyway, she retired, and I believe it was in the year of 2000. No, I'm sorry. She retired back in, I don't exactly remember. I'm going to cross that out. But she retired from Shaw High School, and after doing well over 10 years of service in there. And that meant a lot as well. Not to mention my mother, Gwendolyn Grady, her married name is Robinson. She graduated from Shaw High School back in 1974, I believe. And after that, my uncle, Andre Forte, graduated in 1983 from Shaw. So then I came through the school with my brother, Calvin Fisher. And, well, my brother made it through, but I didn't really make it through. Honestly, after all the Army education and being at a nationally recognized school, I don't know what happened in that gap, but it didn't grab me when I was supposed to come out in 93. But I do recall in 1993, one of the memories that I have that I always question till this day is we didn't have a yearbook, which brings me to where I am today on the school board. I remember those things. Why were we not allowed to have a yearbook? Why were certain sports and things taken away that I might have probably looked forward to when I was attending Shaw High School? Because my mother and my uncle were there prior years, and those were things they bragged about because they were in swimming. My mom was swimming. My uncle was into baseball. It was so many different things. There was chess club. There was scholastic programs going on and everything. So it's a different, and now I can reflect on it. But that's about it for that. I'm probably going too far.
Do the students at Shaw have yearbooks now? Or are they still?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
And
That's the good thing.
how did you end up not graduating, if you don't mind saying so?
Back then, well, we had the gang thing going on. We had little negative rumors and everything. But I can remember the principals and everything were pretty fair. I ended up getting pregnant my 12th grade year. No, I'm sorry, my 11th grade year. And I had my child. But the school system had to be very great because I remember having a talk with, I don't remember if it was the superintendent or the principal. And I had already dropped out because of attendance. And my grandmother and my mother said, you need to be in school, da, da, da. And so I went back to talk to them because you had to talk to them to get in. And he said, sure, you can come back to school. Well, I got the approval to go back, but I didn't go back. And I don't know, life, that's how I was viewing life then. Anyway, make a long story short, later on in life, it wasn't until after I was 30 that I got a GED. Mm-hmm. And I did very well on my GED because I was well educated through these schools here in East Cleveland and my being traveling as an Army brat and everything. And I went on to Remington College and got a medical assistant certificate. And right after that, I went to Cleveland State, where I am finishing my degree now.
What's your degree going to be?
Psychology.
Oh. You want to be a psychologist? Or?
No, I don't want to be a psychologist. I've always wanted a psychology degree. Mm-hmm. And I do, and I probably will never work the field or go on for a PhD because you need that to really do well in it. But I always wanted a psychology degree. No one really works their field right away anyway that they graduate in. I do know that.
What do you see yourself doing with it?
Probably seeking a master's after I'm done with my bachelor, which will not be in psychology. By the time I reach that master's degree, more than likely I'll know what I really want to go into. But it more than likely would be somewhere in the education field, or with my medical background from working for an internal medicine doctor and everything, I have a little interest in the medical field, just a little interest, and maybe even a counselor in between. So I'm undecided, just like some of our youth that graduate today. Mm-hmm. I'm still undecided.
So I want to roll back to when you didn't when you didn't graduate. What do you think what was going on in your mind at that time?
Wow. You know what? The funny thing is, I stopped going to school because of attendance. And the thing is, I wasn't doing anything but going to almost every different school in Cleveland. My best friend and I, we just used to cut school to go to Euclid schools, Cleveland high schools, and we would walk the hallways and we'd make bets pretty much on if the security would catch us in the hallways and stuff. So we weren't out doing the things they stereotype young people to do, which is drinking and all that kind of stuff. No, we weren't into none of that. We would even, while we were going to catch bus, or if we didn't have bus fare, we would walk. We would make bets in each other. Don't cuss in front of the church or silly stuff like that, you know. But we weren't doing anything but going from our school to different schools. I mean, we were kind of upset with some of the rumors going on back then.
Like
The
what?
teachers
What do
were
you mean?
pretty okay. It's just things about Shaw High School, that I really don't want to put out there. But it was negative things going on in the 90s besides just the gang thing. But the gang thing was huge. We didn't have dress code when I was there in 93. Soon after, maybe a year or two after, we had dress code because of it. I mean, it was so much going on.
Jarod, can you pause it?
hmm Okay. This is not for public view. When I was in school it's supposed to come out in 93, so this is between 89 and 93. There was a bad thing that happened at Shaw High School. There was a blood drive going on where we used to have people come in and we donate our blood and everything. Well, I wasn't one of them, but something happened when the results came back from that blood test. There was a high percentage of students who had HIV or AIDS, and that's when it first came out. And those rumors.
This was true?
This was true. It was in the papers. It was everything. It was bad. So we started. That was the first time I really can remember any negativity being said about East Cleveland schools as far as that. And it was real hard on us, even when we used to go and travel to different schools.
You mean
Kids would tease us. Oh, my goodness, where are you from? Shaw High School? That's the school with the A's. So that would probably add on to why we were just having fun outside of the school. I mean, that was embarrassing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we didn't understand it. But, okay.
Did anybody talk to you about it? Adults? Did you have like a, sit down and just all discuss what's happening or anything like that?
You know what? I wasn't in school enough if it was happening in the school. I wasn't in there enough to notice. I just remember it being in the papers and the talk about it. And it was bad, and it really did happen because as I got older, we watched some of them pass away because of it. They were very popular people. So, okay, so we can go back to the...
Well, I know don't go
no,
back
not
yet.
yet. Okay,
I
got
have
you.
a question about that.
Got you.
So, do you think anything could have been done to prevent that from preventing all those students from, from an administrative point of view? Because it was a school, and then from a family point of view, to prevent those students from getting AIDS.
You know what? Honestly, when I was in school, health education class was that topic and stuff in class. I mean, they were very good at teaching us that kind of stuff. I do remember letting us know what's going on that way. As far as the school, I think they did their job. I think with the gang population and whatever you had to do to get initiated, or any other outside the drugs starting to get busy in the schools and stuff, that might have made a difference on what happened there. I don't know because I wasn't really in the in crowd. And my parents, of course, at home, and my grandmother and them were very strict then. Even though I got pregnant and everything, they still talked about a lot of things. But I still knock on wood that it didn't happen to me. So.
Back on the record?
Back on the record.
Okay. So your 21-year-old's dad, is he still involved with, that's a boy or girl?
My daughter?
Uh-huh.
Yes, he is. The funny thing is, yeah, he is. I met him. He was at Cleveland Heights when I was at East Cleveland Schools, but his family was here in East Cleveland. Very great father. Great father. He did an excellent job, especially dealing with me, Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say are your, and maybe you touched on some, but just in case, your fondest memories of East Cleveland?
My fondest memories? Besides all that, I was raised, when I was a child, children are to be seen and not heard. You didn't eat at the table when you were a child. You ate at the table in the kitchen. You didn't eat with adults. You didn't get into the conversations. But you always knew what was going on and stuff like that. And it gave us something to look forward to. My fondest memory is when my uncle graduated from the front row. And for the first time, I was treated as not just a child. They said, you can come to his graduation. Oh, my goodness. That was...
Who don't know, what was the front row?
The front row is where Shaw High School students used to graduate from. And that was a big thing, I'm telling you. That was huge to be able to walk across that stage and go to the front row and everything. Just like it was huge to go through that clap out process.
Still, people who don't know what the front row, can you describe what the front row was?
Well, it's well outside of our city limit, outside of the East Cleveland city limits. And I remember I've heard a lot of concerts and all that kind of stuff, but I just knew that's the place to go for graduation. And my family made it big that you were supposed to graduate from high school. But the biggest thing wasn't graduating from high school. It's when you graduate from college. And it's not the biggest thing to get a bachelor. The biggest thing is to get your master's and your PhD and walk down the road, not just walk across the stage. But that's how my family was made up. Today, I'm happy to get my kids to at least graduate from high school because I didn't do that. And they've surprised me because they went on to college, the two that has graduated, and I look forward to the other ones as well. Let me piggyback on another thing I remember about being in school. It was fun, but a lot of people don't recognize. I remember when I was in elementary school at Chambers, and we used to have these little street wars with Mayfair or Prospect and stuff like that. That was fun to me now that I think back, even though it probably was like scary to the parents and everything, but it was fun. But the bigger deal was when you get to the high school level and everything, and then we had this thing against Shaw, and Collinwood couldn't have games, Shaw and Cleveland Heights couldn't have games without breaking out in these huge fights. And when I think of it today, I'm kind of glad they done overcame it, but I still think back to that generation. It meant a lot. I mean, there's a big difference that we cared about our city so much. Hey, this is East Cleveland. You know, y'all, we're just as good or better. You know, we just had this high feeling about East Cleveland. If you had something bad to say about it, that was not a good thing.
So the elementary school street wars, kids were fighting because of what school they went to?
Yeah, the elementary, because there was so many different elementary schools and stuff like that. But it was fun. It was fun to me. I still think about it. I was kind of disappointed that only in a small sense that my kids didn't get to go through it. I mean, because it wasn't a real big deal or anything. It was just something fun to do. It wasn't, I don't remember anything serious happening out of that. It was just something to do. Teach you how to fight for what you really love, which was your school. You know.
So, in what ways has the city changed over time?
Well, definitely the loss in population. I don't understand what happened. I know I moved away as an adult after having a few of my kids, and I moved down south, and I came back, and for one, Kirk was gone.
When did you leave and when did you come back?
I left around, 99, because my son was still in Pampers. I left in 99. I came back after my last child, and he was born in 2003, so I'll say 2005-ish, something like that. And during that process, I come back, the junior high school was gone, and I didn't understand that because every time I attended Kirk, and I still remember they had this saying, knowledge is power. And anytime I talked about things like at jobs or anything, that still came up in some of my conversations. I mean, that was grilled into me. And then Shaw was gone. And I was like, wow. But they rebuilt it, and they said, okay, so my kids were still not at Shaw High School level, so I didn't know what Shaw looked like in the inside. But I said, wow, it looks like a really nice building and everything. But it's gone. All the little tunnels and stuff we used to hide in, and going to 2 different cafeterias and the Corp, because being a younger student, even though I wasn't there in my later years as much as I should have, it still was nice to be in the Corp and think about working your way up to being it was like a split level floor where seniors pretty much were the only ones allowed on that level. And then we had like our homecoming dances in this building called the Corp and all this kind of stuff. And that was gone. And our swimming pool ended up leaving us, and the memories and the courtyard, hanging out in the courtyard during lunchtime. And I mean, it's so many memories, and I understand the reason why they thought that Shaw should be rebuilt the way they should have. But the way that I feel is that some of the things could have stayed or been rebuilt. Um, you don't take everything away, but I understand funding and things like that, so we can still build on that today. So that's the good thing about it. I understand the budget cuts and stuff, but looking up at that clock when you ride down Euclid Avenue past the old Shaw High School building, that was the clock some of us looked at when we were running late for something or running early for something. I mean, we were built on that clock being there. Um, but change has to happen sometimes.
What do you think about the physical, the construction of the new building?
I'm not crazy about it. I'm not crazy about it. I feel like it's just strictly all classrooms and a lunchroom. We used to even have a nice auditorium in the old Shaw High School. We don't have that anymore. We use our cafeteria for that. We use our cafeteria for dances. I mean, I just don't agree with it. It's a sad thing, but hopefully we can build on to it. Things are falling off the building already, and it's a new building. Um, I don't know who to blame on it or whatever, because I wasn't here, and I'm still learning, because I am looking back to see, because it meant a lot to not only me but other people here in our East Cleveland community. Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you have any idea what contributed to some of the changes that have taken place here?
It's just poor decision making. Poor decision making. I can also say, when I was coming up as a young child, parents went to things in the community, because my grandparents would leave, hey, you got to do what you're supposed to do at home. You had to be in bed at a certain time, da, da, da. And my neighbors, my peers and everything, they were raised pretty much the same way. Everyone on the street looked out after you. And I don't see that anymore. If you do, it's very rare. And it's scary. It's real scary, because the scary thing is that also while I was in school, there was a lot of disciplinary actions, like paddling and stuff going on. Well, the generation I was in pretty much were the ones, and I can't speak for the ones before me, but we were like, that needs to go. And as a young adult, I'm like, yeah, that needs to go. But now I'm thinking back, I'm saying, yeah, it needed to go, but it should have been replaced with something else, because everything just went downhill as far as even being in our neighborhoods. I mean, no respect. It's what I mean by that is, when I send my kids out to play, the ones that knew me coming up, majority of the elderly have passed on. And you have this new generation come in, and they don't look out for you. They cuss you out, all this kind of stuff. This is what I've dealt with going through my kids, which is totally different than where I was raised, in the same neighborhood. I live on the same street I was born on, and it's way different. It's nothing like it. And it's just amazing to me how it's not only that the homes are abandoned, but they're written on with all this graffiti more than everything. There's so much stolen stuff. Like when places were abandoned before people moved out, the neighbors watched after those places and stuff. And that's some true stuff. But I don't know what happened. Where did we go wrong where we lost respect for where we live and everything, I don't know how to explain it really, but it's a really sad thing. And parents and people who aren't parents that are in the East Cleveland community really should think about coming and sitting together. But I don't know. It seems like we're more of a transitional city now. Like people come and go, come and go, come and go. You don't have a lot of people coming in here buying homes. That's only ones that's here with homeowners are probably ones that have inherited their homes or something, or got it dirt cheap, but they plan on renting it out to someone, to these people that come and go.
Do you think that that's one of the things that contributes contributes to the situation we're in now is the transitional, this, people not having the roots here or trying to set roots here.
Yeah, that and maybe there's not a lot of, we have a lot of positive things going on here. We have one of the biggest alumni picnics I can ever think of happening anywhere in the United States. And our people come from out of town to come to that, and I've never heard of anything negative happening there. And it happened, and we have a lot of a lot of events that happen that are positive. Well, the media doesn't focus in on that. It's a lot of negativity here. That's what they focus on and feed off of, and it makes us look bad.
Where does the alumni meeting take place? The picnic, or the
Yes.
big event. Where does it take place?
It always happens Labor Day weekend. The Sunday is the day that we meet at Forest Hill Park by the Duck Pond. And oh my goodness, thousands. And I'm not talking about just alumni from back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I'm talking about alumni from there and beyond there. And then you also have the kids that are graduating today. They find it interesting to be there too, and they put their place in there. And our band, they do a big thing up there, and they give out, the Shaw High alumni people give out scholarships to the kids, and they go off to college, and their parents come. They're so proud. I mean, it's a great thing.
How do they pick the kids to get scholarships?
I'm not exactly sure how they pick, but my daughter was one of the ones. I'm thinking, as I remember, she had to write a letter, and her GPA had to be okay. And she was one of the ones who got hers.
At the picnic, do Caucasian alumni show up?
Yes, we do have some Caucasian alumni. And I was recently the parent liaison up at Shaw High School, so I attended a number of events. And we had a back-to-school rally, I want to say this past summer in 2013, where there was a busload of senior citizens who were Caucasian and maybe other ethnicities that came back just to see how Shaw is doing today. So you have people out here that are concerned. When I was campaigning for my school board position, I went to the Owl's Nest, and I met this man who's from another country, and he was a Russian. And he used to be a teacher there. And his name is Isaiah. And he asks, how can I get into the schools so I can get what I know back? And he's a senior citizen. I just thought that was so special.
He wanted to volunteer?
He wants to volunteer his time. So there's people out here that want to give back to our city and our schools.
Is he going to do it?
Well, we're in the process. I did make a promise that I would make contact with our superintendent. And I have, and we've discussed a few things. So we're preparing a list and trying to get things together with that.
For just him or other seniors?
For the whole building, but I've also talking with the other senior citizen buildings because he's probably one voice speaking for a lot of other voices. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Has racism impacted you personally, and if so, how?
Racism not really impacted me. What amazes me is I am Black. My family, though, is not a lot of Black on my mother's side. My great-grandmother was from Spain. And we have a lot of white folks, Caucasian folks married into our family. So it's a lot of that, more than that than Black on that side. But then my roots with my father, which my father's family is so awesome. They keep me to know about everything going on, but they're all Black. And then the thing is, our city now, when I was a child and before that, it wasn't as Black as it is today. I'm talking about percentage-wise. We're highly Black. And when I attend things like the library board meetings, school board meetings and stuff like that, city council meeting, Democratic Club meeting, everybody talks about this Black city. And when I seem to mention something, and sometimes I think, nobody ever hears me, but I say this didn't start off as a Black city, and we need to remember that. And it's still not just a Black city. We have other cultures here. But at the same time, we do need to respect our culture being Black because there's so many of us here. But respect for the other cultures as well is very important to me. But as far as feeling racism, I don't think I feel it as much, because a lot of things, even till today, with my grandmother and everything is gone. My mother's here, and they try to they still try to hide me away from it. They try to not let me see that much. I only see when I get out here and get involved. And
they should try to shelter you?
Yeah, they still try to shelter me from some of that kind of stuff. Like, and that's because that's the way they want me. They don't want me to think, they don't want me to judge a person because of what culture they are. Mm-hmm. That's how my mom is.
So how would she try to shelter you? What's an example of her doing that?
She just simply said it doesn't matter if you're white or black or if you're Puerto Rican or anything. It still happens in every culture. Mm-hmm. And it's just so happened that our culture here in East Cleveland is primarily black right now at this time. And it's sad that she pretty much said it's just sad that the city is going down. It makes the black culture look bad. And that's a sad thing. So she just tries to tell me, hey, read and ask questions and do your part.
So when you said previously that you try to remind people to be respectful of our cultures at mm-hmm. some of the meetings you go to.
Yes.
What does that respect look like? What would that look like?
Well, sometimes a person's tone of voice is different because of their culture. Sometimes a way a person does things is because of their culture. And you have to respect that. I was at a meeting the other day. And, one person went on and on and on talking. And I'm sorry. One person went on and on talking, and the rest of the members didn't agree with what that person was talking about. And it's very clear that it's because of the race that person is. But that person really has some really good points. But I know from talking to the other people that they seem to feel like because that person is another race, that they can't understand what the black race is going through. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm horrible with explaining, but that's a sad thing. I guess that will be a racial thing that I do go through and see. And what I do is, hey, I try to get along with all of them, you know, and I try to just overlook what's being done. I won't agree with it because I don't stand for it. That's about all I can say about that right now. Let me add one more thing that I missed on that. Mm-hmm. Because the one person is separated from the rest of the group who are black. At the same time, that one person doesn't understand what's going on, honestly. I can see that. So it's something going on right there, and they won't see past it. You have to see past it. And that's what I wanted to add to that. That would cease a lot of the problems going on. If you could work together for the issue, not because of how you were raised, what culture, what race, anything like that. If you can get past that, and if you can sit at a table together and see past those differences, and it's not just even a race thing now I think about it. I mean, with me being a school board member, and then there's other organizations and there's other elected officials on different boards and stuff in our city. If we could just see through all the negative stuff that are similar to racial issues, we can work together and get something done. But it's a huge barrier right now that we can't all sit at a table and work this thing out with East Cleveland. And it really bothers me.
So I just want to be clear. You said that other person who's on the outside mm-hmm. doesn't realize that these other people are being difficult because of race. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I just see a lot. When I look at it from being the middle person, I guess you would say, they both sides to me, honestly, it's a racial thing. It's not understanding each other as a person.
So
And
seeing race before seeing trying to get to the heart of the
exactly,
individual.
exactly.
Okay.
Like blocking things out. Like that person doesn't know what they're talking about. They don't understand. They're not in the homes of the kids that are mostly in our school system now, or the people that are in our community now. They can't understand because this is a black population, and they are not black. And I've pretty much heard this, and I think that's really sad. Issues like that happen, but yeah, that's about it.
So how do you think, or do you think that racism has impacted East Cleveland, and if so, how?
Now, overall, I don't. Now, besides issues like that, I don't think. I don't think racism is really the problem in the sense of color. I think it's in the sense of generations, if I can say it like that. And the reason why is because when you look at our senior citizens, they have different beliefs, and we have generations like mine should respect those senior citizens and their beliefs and how they do things. But at the same time, I think that senior citizens should respect what the younger generation is bringing in, because we are raised on change, like our president ran his campaign on change. And we have to do things differently today. We have technology, the senior citizen stuff, senior citizens and their generation didn't have cell phones and email computers and all that kind of stuff. We have that stuff now. So we have a different way of doing things. But in the same perspective, I believe that the younger generation needs to respect the older generation, because they can't handle the loud music. They can't handle the cell phones ringing in the car and all that kind of stuff. They can't even understand the way we drive versus the way they drive, you know. So racism in that sense is alive here in East Cleveland. They don't understand why kids dress the way they do or act the way they do. But that was the same thing back when they were younger too. But it's a different time now.
So it'd be more like ageism.
Yeah, ageism. Yeah, let's name it something. Yeah, let's put something else on it. But yeah.
Now, so on that, just to take that a little bit further, do you think what you've seen happen in East Cleveland, do you think it's happened in other cities in the country, in terms of the change from the way it was to going down?
You know what? I'm sure it's happening in other places. But what makes East Cleveland different in the Ohio area is that we in Cleveland were one of the first suburbs. This used to be the home of John D. Rockefeller. Nationwide, everybody knows this city here was thriving very well. And that's what makes us very important and a topic of discussion right now. And why people are wondering, why did it go down so much once he's gone and left and the rest of them and everything. It makes it important to focus in and learn on what's going on in our city. And then there was a lot of heritage left here, you know. There's a lot of historical things here in East Cleveland. Like our parks and our homes, and those same homes that were historical, and the historical stamp must not have been put on it, because I've heard there's funding for it and everything in other areas. But it's amazing to me that those historical homes are not kept up. But when you go to like Ohio City and a Little Italy, they're able to maintain that stuff. So where did we go wrong? I don't know. Yeah.
Can you recall time or instances when the citizens got together to fight for something?
I remember when I want to say junior high school at Kirk. And the funny thing is, Quincy Jones, I have to go to the musical part because it makes an impact on our lives, came up with We Are the World back in the 80s. And it impacted our neighborhood where we were pretty much trying to do those little circles and songs and stuff, even in our schools. It just moved its way on down. and we were working on that kind of stuff. As far as something on our own, I would really have to think about it because it just doesn't come right to me and everything. I do remember hearing stories, but I can't relate because I was going back and forth. But as an adult, I'm still trying to get the grasp of things. Yeah.
What about when Huron Hospital?
Oh, see, you brought the topic up. Okay, I can relate to that. Woo! Huron Hospital. Huron Hospital to me, and I can say this because I stood up at a meeting we had at one of the churches. When the topic first came up, yes, it was a shocker. But me, as a young parent who've seen my friends go through that hospital and pass away when they come through there, I didn't think they had adequate care anyway. But talking with my mother and grandmother when they talk about how they pay their taxes and how their money is used in the city and everything, I think it's a shame that they couldn't fix the problem to keep the hospital here because the dollars were needed. And I seen a lot of things happen behind closed doors because I was a Cleveland State student then. So while I was in school, I would go on the internet and Google certain things. And one day I looked up and a deal was made. And I said, well, gee whiz, that was quick, you know. Huron Rural Hospital, I wish they would have stayed. But at the same time, if they stayed, I wish they would have improved their care. And at the meeting that I did attend, I said, heck, well, if Cleveland Clinic didn't want to do what they were supposed to do and keep that hospital vibrant with the emergency that was coming through and all that kind of stuff, bring another hospital in here. That was my idea. Get some competition in here. So I do have a small problem with that. And even in the last few weeks, I see Cleveland Clinic is still doing the same thing down the street at the Parker Hannafin building in Cleveland on Euclid. They just lost 700 employees because they're getting rid of that one too. So I don't know what's going on with Cleveland. It's all a business decision, so I understand that part. But it's really sad how they forgot that their hospital, Cleveland Clinic, pretty much got started in our community in East Cleveland. And they gave up on us.
Oh, really?
I feel they gave up on us.
Huron was one of their first hospitals?
The way I see it, I don't know. But when I think about Cleveland Clinic, I think about that being one of the ones. Because it's always been there as far as I can remember. Yeah.
So in terms of the citizens fighting for that, do you remember people doing that?
Yeah, I remember them standing outside Huron Hospital holding news conferences. I remember so many community people getting out and going to meetings and everything and voicing their concerns because with our neighborhood going down, we had a whole lot of emergency care that needed to go to that close by facility. And it does make a difference today that we have to go so far away to seek emergency care. It's a huge impact negatively. Yeah, it's not like you want us to live forever if you got to travel so far to get to a hospital. Doesn't speak well. But let me add on, I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me add on, I have visited the new Stephanie Tubbs Jones Center. And it's a very nice facility. And it has extended hours to the late evening for urgent care for 14 and up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They put a sign outside. It's a sign that sits out there.
So this is new?
Yeah, there's
till what time?
till 9 o'clock. Yeah. And they have like a little sign that sits on the sidewalk that lets us know that. I saw it just the other day. And I've actually went there a couple of times. And they're pretty pleasant in there. And the care is better. Now, if they would have did that in Huron Road, maybe they could have brought in the dollars to keep themselves open. But the care was horrible back then. I'm telling you, it's horrible. I experienced it. But, okay, I don't like to talk negative too long.
I just want the truth. Do you think surrounding institutions and cities have impacted East Cleveland, and if so, in what way? Cities and institutions.
Cities and institutions. I think a lot of people a lot of institutions or organizations come in and try to help us. Yes, I do. I think maybe there's not enough involvement from us as citizens. Maybe because we're scared. I don't know. I can't speak for the next person. As far as cities, I haven't seen enough cities come to help us. I hear them talk about us. I hear them say how much they got to offer, but we don't. I would like to see them come and work with us more. University Circle has helped by bringing in their Circle East project with the help of our mayor and everything, which is a plus. We have land there, so at least they made an effort. But the thing that the bad side about it, in my opinion, is that because Circle East stepped in and helped out and did their thing, Case Western Reserve has helped us out a lot. They started some organizations and try to help out and everything, research and all that. But now other people are seeing that we have potential to be a great city again. So they just want to take us instead of just helping us, you know. It's these people that want to talk about merging our city and taking our city from us. It's not going to be East Cleveland. No. Come help us. That's how I feel about it, genuinely. Come help us. I do appreciate that you have the knowledge and everything, but help us. We have a lot of history here, and we love our city. The people that I know that are here to stay, trying to keep their kids in the system, trying to stay here. They love this city. We're glad that they love it too, so much that they want it.
So have surrounding institutions and cities, in addition to having a positive or wanting to help or wanting to merge, have they impacted our city in any other kind of way?
Not that I can't think of that one off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your vision for a future East Cleveland?
My vision for a future of East Cleveland is us to overcome this barrier. Rather it be because of money, because of population, because of our school system that's doing very poorly right now, because of how the state views us and everything. My vision would be to just overcome all of that. Sit down with people and come up with some ideas on how to better East Cleveland, how to better the people of East Cleveland, not for their own personal agendas, but as a whole. One thing that I believe is not happening right now in East Cleveland is that we're not all sitting down at a table, which I've said previously. That has to happen because we have to lead by example. We have to do the grassroots if we have to, knock on people's doors. Just let people know we care about you because, like I said before, it's not the same as when I was younger or others were younger. Our neighbors aren't looking out for each other like they used to. Some of them are. And maybe it shouldn't be that way with the new generation. Maybe that's not what they want, but we all should be able to communicate and get together for the better of each other. I mean, I'm horrible with explaining things, but the only way to overcome it is to get out here and do the work, not just sit back and talk about it. Mm-hmm. All right.
You mentioned, one of the things you said is, you mentioned how the state views us. How do you think the state views East Cleveland?
When I said that, I was talking about the school system with the testing and everything coming about and how they want to rate us and grade us. The report card for the state has changed and everything. And they view us, as far as the city, fiscal emergency. As far as the school, we're pretty much the same on there. We're DF school district. And there's a reason for that.
So then on that tip, and you might have to go off the record for this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, I'm going to put this out there. As a parent, and I'm off the record, as a parent, it really angers me that we can be rated D and F year after year after year. And we're under the state, and they have a system, and nobody out there is thinking, let's rescue those kids. So I have so many questions about this. First, why did you become a school board member?
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's where I was going to go.
Yeah, I said off the record. I said that.
That's where I was going to
So
go.
do you want this on record?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Before I started campaigning for school board or even thinking about school board, matter of fact, I'm going to take you back a little bit. I'm going to give you a small story. I'm going to say 4 years ago, I didn't know what a school board member meeting entailed, okay? I became a band mom for 2 of my children who've graduated, of course. And that was an excellent experience. When I became a band mom, this teacher, well, I'm sorry, he's not a teacher. He's an employee of the district, Mr. Donshawn Wilson. He's also the marching band director. Well, he required that his parents attend majority of the meetings, as many as they can. But he also understood our work schedule, and he knew how to reach us. And he always gave us his personal cell phone number if we couldn't make a meeting and we needed to share ideas. So what I'm trying to say is, for me as a parent, he started getting me involved. He say, you know, you just can't let your kids go out of town and not attend a meeting. You can't just let your kids sit up here and take tests and not be at home, telling them to go to bed on time and eat right, because he has a very strict diet. I'm not going to get into, but and the kids listen. He tell them he love them. I mean, he gets on their case when they do wrong. But I'm going outside the question. But I just want to say, an organization like the Shaw Marching Band that can get a parent meeting together in a poorly performing school district, according to the state report card, and his parents, majority of his parents show up at the meetings, and even when their kids graduate, like my own, we still come back to those meetings. He's doing something right. Okay, so I was leaving one of his meetings one night, and after going through his thing for maybe a year or two, I'm already got in my mind, hey, I like meetings because I like going to these meetings. And so I go past the Shaw cafeteria, and there's not many people in there at all. But I do see our superintendent, and I know some of these people are board members because I do know some of them. I hear things. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can go in here. And I just go in there one day because I didn't go in there the first time I passed by. So I just go in there, and I sit back and listen. And I'm like, oh, this is what they do at school board meetings. Oh, they talking about the programs that come in here. Da, da, da. They're talking about the budget. Da, da, da. And ever since then, I've been hooked. I'm telling you, I've been hooked. And as time goes on and everything, a year goes past, I'm still attending 90-something% of the meetings. 2 years go past, I'm attending. And I get involved in the PTO at Chambers. Ms. Belinda Cowell ran that. Awesome. She also got lots of parents. And then she was blessed to get a job with the city, and we lost her. And I said, golly, that was an upset. But it's okay. I learned from the experience as well as other parents, I'm sure, have learned from that experience. But as these years go by and I'm at 90-something% of the school board meetings, I kid you not, and I don't have the data in front of me, but I know because I've been at the meetings, if it wasn't a back-to-school rally or a retreat that comes from the school board meetings, parent involvement in those school board meetings each year were less than 1%. Because only maybe for a year, maybe if the child was not being acknowledged at the school board member for Martin Luther King Award or something like that, parents weren't coming. And I would sometimes be the only parent in there, majority of the time. The most I've ever seen at a regular meeting where a child wasn't being honored for something was maybe 5 parents. out of a district of 2,000 something students, and that's a problem for me. And I thought about that when I went to campaigning, and I said, and then the school report card, even though my kids graduated and did well, there were other kids that were my children's peers that did not do well and wanted to do well. There were kids that made the credits, had okay GPAs, even 3.0s and almost 4.0s, but they couldn't even walk the stage because of OGT testing and stuff. And to see those children's faces that, hey, yes, you can graduate later on, but you can't walk with your class because of a test that doesn't even speak for what you should be learning in high school. The OGT pretty much, in my opinion, speaks for what you have already learned ninth grade and below, elementary and junior high school. That test, I hear, is not hard at all. And this is where it bothers me. Why don't our kids know that information? Because when I was campaigning, I also did just small research on Common Core, where I looked at other districts, suburban, even our surrounding areas, Cleveland Heights, Southview, all of that.
For the record, can you explain what Common Core is?
I can't, because I'm still learning. Pretty much Common Core, in my opinion, from what I've learned and read, they're supposed to get parents more involved. That was the key thing. They're supposed to allow kids to get more technology in the schools and stuff and learn it the responsible way. But I'm still learning about the Common Core curriculum. It isn't supposed to really hit until the school year that's coming up in the fall. But I can tell you East Cleveland District has been working on it for probably about a year or two, at least, as far as training their teachers and everything, because I've seen it on agendas and stuff. I'll have more information on you later on that. Okay. Yeah, can we?
So tell me about the major issues that you think need to be addressed in order for East Cleveland to become a better neighborhood, community, and city overall.
Number one, the school system needs to improve, definitely. I don't know. It has to start from the top, which is the school board. We have to work together to improve our board decision making, down to our superintendent and treasurer, which needs to focus on getting us off that horrible looking state report card. It is a concern. Right now I'm trying to work with them because I believe in working with somebody, and then if that doesn't work out, then there's other ways to go. But being a new board member, I'm trying to learn the routes. Now, with the school system improving, that will bring more population in. If you can offer more things in the schools, that's the most important thing in any district, the children. Mm-hmm. Whitney Houston said the children are our future, and it's a true statement. With so many creative kids here in East Cleveland that are more than just basketball players, football players, baseball players, all of that. We need to focus more on technology. We need to focus more on the arts, liberal arts, all that kind of stuff. We have so many talented rappers. I'm telling you, this generation loves rapping, and the girls love to sing. And matter of fact, we have boys that love to sing. You got to see our Shaw choir and stuff. These kids are talented. And if we take a grasp and a hold on them while they are young, and if we nurture them now, not only in the schools, but showing them that these are the things you should do when you become an adult. You take care of your home. You look after your neighbors so their houses aren't getting robbed and all that kind of stuff. You get involved in your community. You can't forget about the politics and everything. If all of that was to come in all, even half of it, I think we would be better. And people would move back here. take value in this city. We have a lot to offer. Go to our libraries. Attend the churches. I mean, the churches are pretty good here. They're pretty good. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but be involved. Don't just sit in the house and everything. It's some good people in East Cleveland. Get out and get to know everyone.
So, as a mom, now, you got 4 kids still in the East Cleveland district.
Yes.
What grades are they in?
I have Steve is in the 5th grade at Chambers. He's in the SCOPE program. I have Stephanie in the 6th grade at Chambers.
So, Steve, who's his teacher?
Miss Wilkerson. And actually, this was the first year in SCOPE where last year in the 4th grade, that was his teacher as well. Something happened. I can't really explain it because I wasn't there and I didn't know. But I do know the SCOPE program, he was able to get the same teacher, that whole classroom. And I look forward to him going to Miss Bussey next year. She's an awesome teacher at Chambers. But yeah, Stephanie's in the 6th grade at Chambers. Daryl is in the 9th grade. He's an East Cleveland student, but he's at a PEP school because of his IEP. I do look forward to integrating him back into Shaw High School, public schooling. Brian is in the 11th grade at Shaw.
Okay. So I'm familiar with the teachers at Chambers, but I'm not familiar with the ones at Shaw. How have you felt about, well, no, your son's at the PEP school now, the 11th grader. Do you feel like he's getting what he needs? Well, no, we talked about that. So. But in your own words.
In my own words, no. My 11th grade son is so talented, and I'll say this on the record. The curriculum that our district provides for my son does not meet his needs. He's above that. And it's to the point where being in class, I mean, is a bore to him. So why go? He goes when he wants to and everything. He excels his test scores. Anytime they put a test in front, he's supposed to take an ACT test soon. I have no problem with him taking that test. I have no worries. I wish they could reach every child instead of, just the chosen ones.
Is he studying for the ACT?
He looks here and there. My son, Brian, loves math, so he sits down and works with the other kids on math. He'll tutor somebody. He has no problem with that. He's always looking to learn. If you can show him something new that he doesn't know, he's ready for it. As far as science and all of that, he doesn't feel he's getting it in our schools. So what he does is Google all day, and he comes and tells me these stories about what he's learned on YouTube or Google and all this kind of stuff, which, as me being a new board member, I'm going to just put this in. There's Google apps at different schools now, and we don't have that in our district. Maybe we need to think about it because it interests some children. I see my son enjoys it, and he's learning from it. Other than that, no, the curriculum is not meeting my son's needs.
Okay. So I have a couple last final questions. Let me just make a note because I will forget.
Let me also add this on the schooling part. My 2 children, I can't not talk about the 2 oldest ones. Brittany, her 2nd year, she's in her 2nd year at Central State University. She went in with also a band scholarship because she played trumpet. And Delisha is at her 3rd year at Howard. She's also had to do some transient courses in between at the community colleges because of financial reasons. And the reason I want to put that in, because I don't feel parents know enough on how to send their kids off to college as far as the finances. I don't think the children are completely ready because my girls did pretty well when they left. ACT scores of 20-something and all that kind of stuff. They paid for Howard University. I mean, the only thing we had to worry about was the dorm fee. And we could have did better than that if we had more knowledge. But the remedial classes that my girls have had to take and even retake more than once in college means they were not prepared.
Now,
and
if they go to community college, where they go to school or they went to try to see?
No. Brittany has not taken
Okay.
any community college. She's strictly Central State. Delisha, on the other hand, at Howard University, she's enrolled for transient courses at the area community colleges there.
Right.
And she still goes, she's a dancer for the band. And
Which is costly.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
in a perfect world, when your child has to do that,
Mm-hmm.
the district they came for pays for it.
That's right.
So,
That's one of the concerns I had when running for school board. Now, I'm not saying that they're totally blamed, but there's a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And the school district and the parents need to sit down and get each other, talk about this.
Right.
It needs to be on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to speak to you as a school board member, as a mom. You guys can cut this out if you want to.
Mm.
But what my idea would be, and I'm talking to you because you're on the board, would be rather than our district stay so trying to retain kids while they're leaking out anyway, because we got APACs and we got STEM, focusing on the student and saying if we can't provide what this student needs, let's reach out to STEM. Let's reach out to APACs. Let's reach out to whoever wants to
Help.
Mm-hmm. So that we can send, so that would raise our scores.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make me more comfortable if I was in a situation where I didn't feel like my child was getting what they need, but staying there because I know the school's going to provide it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the school doesn't have it there, but I know they're going to make sure that we use the resources around us. Because that's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And STEM has that ninth grade right in our community. That's in
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
And so is Apex, which I don't really know how Apex is doing, but I know somebody said it's doing well.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a charter or whatever it is. I don't think charter should take over. I think we need our public schools.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have an institution of learning in our community, and we're failing, how can we not take advantage of that if they're doing well, and allow our students to benefit from that?
Mm-hmm. I understand.
How, Ms. Fisher?
I understand. I have the same questions. I really do. Apex, I did hear, is doing pretty well. In fact, I've heard, and I plan on going to see for myself. I've heard they have like 500 students at one school building, which is kind of. It's not a big school building, and some of our schools don't even have that many. Not even half as many, which because of our population.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not an excuse, because the kids are here in the community.
Right.
They're just not coming to our district.
Right.
And there's a reason. And that's why I'm on the school board now. That's why I decided to go. They shouldn't overlook East Cleveland School District when looking for educated parents. Shouldn't have to overlook our district.
Right.
That should be an option. But what I'm hearing from the community and the ones that send their students out is not. They won't dare think about it until we improve our district, until we offer our students more, until they feel that their children will be safe coming to and from school because of the neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of key points there that needs to be addressed.
I'll tell you another one, Monticello, Monticello High School in University Circle.
Mm-hmm.
If our school district reached out to them, I have no doubt that they would respond.
The funny thing is, our principal from last year, Mrs. Deborah Moore, she came from Collinwood previously, and then she became a principal at Shaw High School, and now she's at Monticello. But that is where she came. She actually went to Cleveland High Schools themselves, and the interesting thing is, right now, Cleveland Heights University School District, they're getting ready to build new schools or something, doing some rebuilding up there. So they're closing one of their junior high schools, I've heard, and they're sending some extra kids to Monticello, and I think it's Roxborough or something like that. I don't remember what the school name. I was reading on that, and what the district did was get their parents involved and make sure they knew every step while it's going on before it even happens, That's something else. But if we can just look and see some of those examples, and I can't speak for the other board members. I'm just speaking for myself. But if we could talk about it more and everything, have parent meetings, and they can tell us what they learned at the other schools, what they're doing out there that we're not doing, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. That would be a plus.
So do you think that one of the problems we have is that we have this kind of, what do you call that? Kind of closed off mentality where we don't want to, where we're almost, at least our leadership is afraid to open ourselves up to forming relationships because it's like we're afraid that we're going to lose something or maybe to expose what we're doing. We don't.
That is a big deal with the public schools versus the charter schools. There is a scare. It's almost, and then with that scare does come a little prejudice. And that's where I brought up that racial thing. It's similar to it because then you're so upset or disappointed that your students are going over to the charter schools and the private schools and not coming to the public schools where you live in that community and everything. And it's a little bit threatening. Like, they must. It makes us look really bad here in East Cleveland, I have to say. Hopefully it can change soon. And that's one of the reasons why I ran.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I like to listen to the community. I will not be a school member by myself. The community voted me in, and I will listen to their ideas, but I will make the decision making that I think is the best interest for the children. It's not about me. It's not about the adults. It's about those kids.
So this last question, I don't know that it actually, well, I'll ask it, but I think it kind of speaks for yourself. What are you prepared to do to make East Cleveland better?
Stay involved. Go outside my community and network. Put it out there that we need help. Closed mouth don't get fed, right? And do whatever I can, the best that I know how. You know, it's an old saying that was told to me some years back. Sometimes it's not that they don't know, it's just they don't know how. You can't just assume that somebody knows all the answers. I don't think anyone knows all the answers. And pray. There you go. Can't leave God out of it. Whatever God that you worship and everything, can't leave him out.
So that's all the questions I have. This
Thank
is
you.
for the community record for now and making changes in the present and also as a record for the future. So given that, is there anything you want to say in addition to what you've already said?
No, there's nothing much except for the community ones that see this video. Please, please, please pressure all the organizations, all the boards in our city to get on a community calendar. So, because that's a huge barrier. That sometimes we have meetings on the same days, same time frames, and that shouldn't be so. Right there alone speaks for itself. You got to lead by example. You got to do what's right. Put your feelings aside and think about more than just you. And that's it. Community calendar, definitely a plus.
Well, I built the website for
Yes, you did.
You guys can cut this out too. But I did. I got them all on there now. So there's it says, from this date till forever, the school board meetings and also the city council meetings. So at least people who come to the site can see when things are taking place.
But you know what happens? In the middle with the school board, what happens is, for one, it can change every year at the organizational meeting.
Okay.
Number two, special meetings come in place all the time, and it can be an emergency meeting where they want to throw it in. Well, the good thing is you have a calendar,
And it's also,
so they should be able to see it.
Somebody, not necessarily me, but call the
Mayor's
city
office.
and let them know that that's happening, and they can make the change and put it out there.
Yes.
Because that's one way of making sure people know things is to have it up there on the internet.
Definitely a start in the right direction. Well, thank you so much for even asking me. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you being willing to do it.
You're welcome. Okay. I just wanted to also share, I have so much old stuff here and more here in the house because my grandmother kept everything. She was one of them pack rats, you would call her. But I'm not calling her a rat. But thank goodness she did it all. And she worked in the schools, as I mentioned earlier. And we used to have like a CAPS program in the high school level. Elementary, we do have a scope program that's similar to this. Well, the CAPS program, the students were able to travel abroad. And here I have where this was when they went to London. My uncle, Andre Forte, and some other students went to London. And this was in 1982, March 8th, 1982. And this was pretty much the packet they were given with some type of itinerary, how they were going to go about going on the airplane and all that kind of stuff. So things were in place in our school district where kids were able to get outside of the city and learn other life experiences and whatever was needed for college. As a matter of fact, this is the list of students that attended this one. And there were many other trips around this. But I also wanted to point out, they had these this is all a part of a packet. This is something different. Well, Louis Stokes. This was a picture included in there because there were people that were very important who we know and respect today who are also involved with our district. And
What did Carl Stokes do?
Louis Stokes. Yeah, I see compliments of Congressman Louis Stokes. I don't know exactly, but I did hear from my grandmother when she was alive and my uncle, because he's also passed on from cancer, that he was seen a whole lot in our city, and he mentored a lot of our kids as well. I know there's some out here today that's doing the same thing. Let me put this aside so I can put in the same thing. We had newsletters going around, which I'm trying to get through. We had, these were our old school year calendars and everything we used to have. So we were involved back then. I mean, it just speaks of different things that were going on, talking about arts and music and all that kind of stuff. So it was there before. And don't even get me to the yearbook, because, I mean, there were things in place. Directory for city schools, which we do have something similar to this today. My mother handed me, I don't see a lot of this unless we order things like this off of a website as parents ourselves. But this was really big to have our little emblems, and our shawl jackets were better. But our district does, I have seen them pay for jackets, but it's not like it used to be, but that's okay. Change is good. I just wanted to share it. This is something our current Shaw High School band, at one time when the funding was okay, and our parents with the band, let me say, because I was a band parent, they get together and get these kids whatever they can. So they used to have banquets. And so they had, this one here was like a jazz thing. And so this is like a program from that back in 2010 and 11. Let's see. These are our current commencement booklets when our kids graduate today. And I'm just going through something because I really wanted to hit the historical stuff more. I'll be real quick. This is back in 1981. We had careers. I remember I was part of word processing, and they had little things like a wood class, and we've had cosmetology around a long time. We still have it today, auto mechanics and stuff like that. But it's been around for a while. So this was from the technical career. It's been around. It's still there. We used to have we have newsletters, but they were really good here. The thing with this was from the high school, the Cardinal Approach. And when you went inside of it, and we don't have it to this degree today. It's just it's more simple and everything. But the community was involved, and I'm going to show you where. So you had games and stuff, things you could do at home. They talked about alcoholism and all that kind of stuff. Real good topics. The staff speaks and everything. They talk about unemployment down here. If you're out of work, I don't know because I didn't read it. To what degree? Softball, baseball. And see, they always had outside businesses putting stuff in our newsletter. You always see something new in majority of them. 20% off discount for, well, that was prom. King Cole Pizza. Oh, I don't even remember that, huh? 17121 Euclid. Some people probably remember that. But the community was very involved. And I think that's what I have historically. Oh, this is annual reports from back in the day. But I just wanted to share it. And this is the Front Row Theater. This is what their program looked like. Pretty similar. But pay attention. Those are all graduates, 1983. And there's the back side also. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And lastly, I talk about my grandmother a lot, my grandfather, my grandmother who retired from Shaw High School cafeteria in the tech. And this is her right here, Miss Ethel Forte, and her husband, Fred Forte. And that's it for now. Thank you for letting me share all of that. That's awesome.
Same.
You're welcome.